So I'm Vikram, Marketing Science Director at Meta. My role is really to help our advertisers and our internal stakeholders understand how our platform works and figure out what are those best practices based on testing, based on modeling, based on analytics. I think there are a couple of things here. One is there is a lot of hype around AI, but as with all things which have a lot of hype, there's also the downside of once the hype is over, there's a lot of cynicism which creeps in that this is not for me, and this is still far away from being a practical solution which I can use for the day-to-day running of my business, or even slightly more longer-term success of my business. So the first goal was really to convey to the audience that we have at Meta practical solutions which have already been built, tested, and been around for almost a decade now. And it is, we're obviously riding the wave of renewed excitement around AI, thanks to the launch of the recent tools. But this is a good time to kind of bring it back in front of marketers, remind them that these solutions exist and they can make the most of it. Of course, in recent times, we've upgraded and added a lot more features to it, which makes it a lot more broadly applicable to a much wider variety of advertisers and marketers. So that's sort of the first immediate goal of today's presentation. The second one was a bigger, more provocative point, which was we have to rethink the way we addressed marketing as a discipline. There are a lot of conventional ways where we had a process, we had the 4 Ps of marketing, and in each of those 4 Ps we had many sort of Ps within that, specialisms of people doing different aspects of marketing. So saying product, there will be someone who will be developing a product, someone will be developing a brand, someone will be thinking about advertising, media, and so on. And why we're doing all of that is to make sure that we ultimately able to reach the right customer or a potential customer who's over time going to be buying our product and ultimately driving our business. So having those a priori notions of based on our data we saw and the intuition we had, I think that is now getting completely overturned in some ways by AI, because AI can look at things at a very granular level upfront. So not having that fixed idea, fixed framework to lens to look at things. Let the data let the data speak for itself, and that unlocks a lot of opportunities for human expertise, but it also means that human expertise has to evolve. So it's meant to be fairly provocative in changing the conventions of marketing and what AI can do to unlock that. I think it goes back to sort of the most fundamental of truths, right? What's your objectives? Who's your customer? Or how does your business make money? What's the source of business? I was just having a conversation with someone who said he was from KFC, and I said, you would have a fixed notion of who a likely customer for your product would be, or you could create multiple segments of that. Let the data, but heart of hearts, as a true marketer, and anyone who walks into your store is a customer, and it could be any person. Increasingly, brands don't want to be restricted by a choice they've made up front, and then rest of their marketing dollars are suboptimal. So having that openness to accept that there's so much of opportunity which is trapped because of our fixed ways of thinking, and opening their minds and saying, let the data speak for itself. And if I can't read the data as a human, because it's impossible to look at everything, let the machine look at the data, and then when the machine looks at it, then I can look at what the machine has looked at. So letting the machine become your assistant, or the AI become your assistant, and then that frees you up from looking at things more sort of strategically. It also frees you up to think of innovations and new ideas. Ultimately think about it. If you do a thought experiment, if you're a marketer in a certain vertical, there will be multiple other marketers in the same vertical. Everyone is using the same AI solution or the same sort of AI solutions. We'll all still converge to a singularity. Right? Everyone will start doing the same thing and you'll stop seeing the incremental benefits of anything you're using. You still need human ingenuity and innovation and creativity to take the next step in creating a differentiation for your business and for it to grow. So, this trap of getting used to doing what you are and not thinking beyond that, I think that is what is the biggest advice I will give to anyone who's thinking of leveraging this new technology. So you're battling a basic human tendency of, there's only a certain age where you have, your mind is open to learning. And that's probably till you are 8 years old, 10 years old. After that, even when we start going to high school and all, it gets harder to learn. It's because our minds close and we're not, we go where it's the easy way out. That's life, that's nature also in many ways. So to train yourselves to be constantly thinking beyond and having a life of ongoing learning is necessary. So yes, there's job threats is absolutely true. The jobs which are currently there will be taken away by AI. There's a segmentation specialist in your team or someone who's building briefing agencies to create brand logos. Maybe for every brand you have a separate brand manager who's doing that job. Yeah, maybe that type of job is gone. But maybe, not maybe, I think it's very likely a new type of job will be there which now leverages these solutions and figures out a way to effectively leverage it for the future. And if I think about the speaker who came after me, even a speaker who was before me, I can also talk about myself. I think the one common thread across all three of us. When I studied, there was no computers, let alone computers just started, the home computer. And now we're talking about AI. We don't have that. We didn't grow up in that space, but we have learned it along with it. So I think you'll see in a lot of these forums, if people are talking about some of the more advanced solutions, they are the ones who have committed some part of their lives to an ongoing learning. And that's the biggest advice I give to everybody, including my own children. They don't think school is finished or college is finished. You're just getting started. Every 5 years you have to figure out a new skill, a new knowledge. It's good enough to be, knowing a little bit more than the rest. In any way, that is, I think, practically also more feasible, because then you can convince and take the rest of the people along. The gap between you and the rest is too huge. You are not able to explain and pull people along. So, life of ongoing journey, learning is absolutely essential. I mean, my experience has been limited so far, but I think the first I can say is I really thank you and Vinay for the patience you've had in pursuing, speakers like me to commit themselves and to keep reminding us. Being a little bit honest about, we're not the most responsive at many occasions, so we need to stay the line and make sure that this event is pulled off with so many speakers, and it's not easy. So that's sort of my first thing. So, just at a personal level. I think the other is just looking at the 3 speakers and also looking at the list of speakers in the brochure. It seems a really good mix. So such a pertinent topic. You come with an open mind. You can learn, even if it's not your own domain. You can learn from somebody else and figure out how that in these early days of AI and data, you can have a lot of learning even from another domain, and which you can apply or translate into your own specific domain. So I think such events are absolutely necessary, and just the mix of speakers and the topic we had, I think It's very relevant.